Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Hallowell, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Natalie Cioffari. I am a senior at Sacred Heart University, and we're going to talk to Natalie today, a alumni from Sacred Heart, and hear what she's been up to and how her past times at Sacred Heart went. So, Natalie, what's your current job? What have you been up to? How would you describe it?
Yeah, sure. So first off, Jennifer, thank you so much for having me. I love doing these interviews. I love speaking with alumni just about my experience, what I'm doing now, etc. So I am a senior associate, and within that, I work on the integrated media planning team for OMD. And my current client, because everybody that works there has a certain clientele, and you're assigned usually to one client. So my client is Voya Financial and also Her Majesty's Government, which is the UK government.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's whenever every time someone hears that, they're like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, no, like the Queen's government. Like, we're not
Yeah,
exaggerating
I was
when we
not
say that.
expecting that. So that is what you're doing currently. What past jobs have you had? What internships did you do maybe when you were in college?
Yeah, sure. So I actually shifted this past year in 2022 to media agency. I used to work in news. So a lot of the internships, a lot of the jobs that I had were news based. While I was at Sacred Heart, I want to say there was a couple companies that I did that I guess stuck out. I interned with News 12 Connecticut. I interned with MTV, which is a
Wow.
subsidiary of Viacom. I interned with ABC. I graduated with my bachelor's in 2017, and then I graduated with my master's in 2019. And then after that, once I graduated, I went straight into news. So I worked for WABC, which is a subsidiary of ABC Network and Disney, and I was there for about 2.5 years, give or take. And then I came to OMD, which I started in January of 2022.
Wow. Amazing. So recently.
Yes. Oh, very recently. Yeah.
Oh,
Very
that's so
recently.
exciting.
Yeah.
What advice, this is a broader question, but what advice, any advice would you have for a undergrad graduating this May?
Oh, my top three things for advice. I would say the first thing is to be curious, right? Anything that you do, if there's even an ounce of you that's like, you know what, I like journalism, but I also like marketing. If you get a job, whether it's in the marketing field, the journalism field, or a completely different field, like, be curious, ask those questions, talk to people outside of your field, of your industry. Number two is be happy. I cannot stress this enough. I mean, I know it sounds so incredibly silly, and I know it sounds
No.
very broad, but you have to be happy. I mean, this is something that you're going to do maybe for the rest of your life, or maybe you decide in 6 months the job that you thought you liked, you don't anymore, and you want to go somewhere else. I mean, you have to be happy, and you have to be accepting of the things that you cannot change. And it's definitely hard. I think a lot of college kids now are definitely asking themselves that question a lot more than maybe it was 5 years ago, because I think the pandemic put a lot of emphasis on things like, do you want to work late? Like, are you more productive at home? Like, is there something else that you maybe want to do with your life that you maybe didn't think about when you were in the classroom 5 years ago? I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a perfect example of that, but I was in news. I studied news. I got my master's in news, and now I don't work in news. And the third thing is to be connected with people. I mean, there is such an emphasis on networking, and I know people say like, oh, well, I don't want to be friends with everybody. What if I don't like to talk to anybody? Like, listen, I totally get that. There are some days I just want to hide in the corner of my room and not talk to anybody. So I totally get it. But it really does pay to have those conversations, and it does pay to kind of keep in contact with those people, even if it's just to say hi. I definitely think that those things are extremely helpful, because part of the reason why I got this job at OMD was because of networking from a fellow Sacred Heart alumni. I think as long as you're just a kind person and you can connect easily with people, it doesn't need to be a full-blown conversation about your whole personal life, but they're definitely very helpful. And I think those three things all together kind of make one just kind of happy circle.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Oh
Thank
my God, of course, always, anytime, Jennifer, literally anytime. And thank you for having me and letting me rant about my life.
you. Of course. No, this has been great. I met a new friend today, so it's beautiful.
Absolutely. No, listen, it's always a pleasure to talk about this stuff. So I'm always happy to.